Hey guys, Wet Movie 1 back here again for another Blu-ray DVD update video for you guys today. It's been about 2 weeks or so since my last one. Got a nice sized stack of stuff here to talk to you guys about today. If you guys like my videos, please give them a thumbs up. Definitely share them around on Facebook and Twitter with that little option that you have on the bottom of the screen over here where you see the word share. Click that and it'll show you how to share it around on different social media sites. If you guys like my videos at all, check out that button down below. But first up here from Scream Factory is a horror anthology film I've seen years ago and totally forgot about. And then when I got this Blu-ray and popped it in, I'm like, I remember this, man. Like, I remember watching this, and that is called Nightmares here, the cool 80s horror anthology, which has like four horror shorts on here, and one of the ones I remember the most was one starring Emilio Estevez, playing this really kind of guy that's obsessed with this one video game at this arcade, and that he really wants to beat it. He wants to become the best at this video game. He's one of the best video game players, like in town right now, and he kind of goes around hustling people, out of their money so he can get more quarters to play this video game. Until he starts playing this video game really obsessively, like he even breaks in, to this, arcade when they're closed and stuff, just to play this game. And you have to kind of see what happens to him when his obsession, with this game takes over him, and what happens when he breaks into this, arcade at night. When it gets to the final level of this video game. You have to watch this movie, watch the short on here. And of course, there's another short on here. It's pretty much about a lady that's kind of addicted to cigarettes. One night, she's telling her husband, I gotta go out. I gotta go get some cigarettes and stuff, and I'll be right back. And the husband's like, no, you can't go right now, because in our little town that we live in, there's a serial killer on the loose, going around taking people out. There's been a murder that happened a couple of miles away from their house, and she just doesn't care. She wants to get her cigarettes, so she wants to go out there and get them, and risk her life for some cigarettes, because you don't know what's gonna happen if she's gonna run into this crazy guy out there while she's trying to do this. And you have to watch the short film to find out. It's just a really fun compilation of four short films in here. But if you guys love horror anthology films, definitely check this one out, man. It has 3 really solid shorts on here. One of them is not the greatest in my opinion, but I kind of enjoyed revisiting this after all these years. But this next one up right here, I really knew nothing about. I got this into review, and it's from Scream Factory also, and it's directed by Takashi Miike, the guy that made the movie Audition, and he also made the Happiness of the Katakuris, I believe it was called. And this is his new film that came out in 2014 called Over Your Dead Body here on Blu-ray. This one's pretty much about a group of people that are putting on this play, this stage play, and they're going in for rehearsals and practicing their lines, and the play that they're putting on is based on a very popular Chinese or Japanese ghost story. And as they're doing this play, and off stage, the actors themselves are kind of witnessing a lot of the same stuff that's going on in the play. So they don't really know they don't know what the hell's really going on. Is it the play that's really messing with their minds, that they're the creepiness of the play creeping into their lives, or is something really creepy happening to these actors in this play? It's kind of one of those kind of movies. It was really nicely shot. It had a nice pace to it, but it didn't really hold my interest. It was one of those movies that I was just kind of like, I was getting kind of bored with. There wasn't enough to keep me enthralled with what was happening in it. The actors are fine and things. You even have a dub track on here if you don't want to watch the Japanese version. But it's just really kind of forgettable. It's not one of the better Takashi Miike movies out there. Alright guys, and next up over here from Scream Factory also is The Brain That Wouldn't Die here on Blu-ray. This is a film that came out back in 1962. It's about this crazy doctor guy who's been, practicing on people's brains for many, many years. And now he's going out one day, with his girlfriend, to to attend to one of his patients, and they get in this big car accident. His girlfriend dies, and it's pretty much him scooping up her head, her severed head from her body, and bringing it back to his laboratory to try to keep his girlfriend's brain alive. And it's pretty much him trying to figure out what he's gonna do to try to keep her brain, moist and alive, so he can have enough time to go out and search for different parts, different parts of from different women, so he can, maybe attach her head onto somebody else's body and keep her alive for eternity for himself, because he absolutely loves, his girlfriend. And that's pretty much the synopsis on this movie. I think it's really kind of cool. It's a fun little, like, kind of Bride of Frankenstein kind of sort of story, because in half this movie, the girlfriend's head is just on this, on this little table down in the basement of this guy's house, as it's being kept alive by different tubes and wires and things, and he's out there, trying to find the perfect woman. It's kind of sort of has a little thing, like a little bit of a vibe like Frankenhooker, when a guy's going out there trying to get different parts for, for a girl and stuff like that. It was kind of like that, but not exactly like that. Not as raunchy or crazy like that, but 60s style. But I thought this movie was just a lot of fun, to be honest. And this one right here has a 1080p transfer from the original film negative restored to its uncut version. And the cool thing is about this Blu-ray, you get the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode featuring this film, where the crew from Mystery Science Theater was like talking crap about the film and just like cracking jokes at it and stuff. It was actually a really fun watch, because I always really liked the Mystery Science Theater. You guys would really get a kick out of this one, you know what I mean? Like, I really liked this more than I thought I was going to be honest. Alright guys, and next up over here from Warner Brothers is a movie I saw in the theaters, but I didn't do a review for it for some reason, and that is the new version of Pan here on Blu-ray, the new adaptation of like Peter Pan, sort of, that for today's generation, I guess, even though the one with Robin Williams, Hook, back in the day is my all-time favorite one, that and the animated Disney one from back in the day, but this was just another retelling, of the story of Peter Pan, kind of sort of like an origin story of Peter Pan, and how he got kidnapped from this orphanage by these pirates that come down to like snatch kids, or out of this orphanage that's being, actually the person that has the orphanage is selling these orphans and snatching them and bringing them back to Neverland and things. And it's kind of like how Peter Pan became to be before he knew how to fly, before he had the Lost Boys and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like a prequel story of Peter Pan. It was actually kind of fun. The only thing I didn't really like about this movie is that they have like weird modern songs in here that Blackbeard and some of the characters in here were singing. You know what I mean? Like, what's it called? Nevermind from Nirvana. They were like singing in here. It was just kind of like, why are these pirates singing this? You know what I mean? Like, they had a couple of songs in here. This movie is not a musical, but like it had a couple of like songs in here where people are singing. It kind of threw me off. That was the only part of this film that I just really couldn't get into. You know what I mean? But the thing I liked the most about this is the character, I forgot her name now, but she played the lady that was running the orphanage that had Peter Pan, or Pan. She kind of reminded me of the Trunchbull from, the Matilda and stuff. Just the way she was, the British lady, with a bit, bigger kind of British lady doing her thing. She was like my favorite part of this movie for some reason. I wish she was in it a little bit more. You know what I mean? But Blu-ray here, you get, your average special features like the making ofs and things like that, and director's commentary. But if you guys like Peter Pan, the Peter Pan story, you guys might like this, but just like some of the music, it just felt really out of place in my opinion, to be honest. And next up over here from Sony is a movie I really wanted to see, and I was happy to get it here on Blu-ray. It's directed by Robert Zemeckis, the same guy did Forrest Gump and the Back to the Future films, and this one stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it's called The Walk here on Blu-ray. This is based on a true story that happened, back in 1974 about this, this one guy named Philippe. He lives in Paris, and he always had this dream of walking on the tightrope. You know what I mean? Like, he kind of sort of wanted to be part of a circus so he can learn how to walk, on a wire in front of people, because that's his passion. It's just to walk on a wire. And back in 1974, this guy Philippe, had this dream and went to New York as the World Trade Center, was being built, and he's like, you know what? I want to put a wire up on this, from one building to the next, next and be able to walk across it. And I'm like, you know, it's kind of an interesting story, because they even made a documentary about this guy and what he did, you know, a couple years back. And you know, just thinking about it and knowing the story, I was just like, how is Robert Zemeckis gonna make an interesting, compelling movie just about a dude that likes walking across a wire? You know what I mean? But he did. He knocked it out of the park in this movie. Joseph Gordon-Levitt really kills it in here. Like when I was watching this movie, I wasn't like thinking it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt in this movie. I mean, like, he disappeared into the role of Philippe in this thing here. And on this Blu-ray, you get a special feature on here with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and the cast, you know, talking about the story of Philippe and how he did what he did. And you even get the real man himself, you know, talking to the cast and talking to us, you know, about his mission and how he still does, you know, wire walking today. It's just a really fun, interesting movie. It's kind of feels like a little heist movie a little bit, because him and his crew, you know, had to figure out how they're going to get up to the top of the World Trade Center, and the little scam, how they try to do it and stuff. It's really kind of interesting, to be honest. But that's the walk here on Blu-ray, and there's also a 3D version of that out too. And this next movie up right here is from Sony also. I kind of really liked the original film, but this one didn't really do it for me, to be honest. And this is the extended edition of Joe Dirt 2, Beautiful Loser, here on Blu-ray. I love David Spade, man, ever since he did the movies with Chris Farley, like Tommy Boy and Black Sheep, and his days on SNL and things. But like, this movie right here is just kind of like a continuation story of, you know, what Joe Dirt is doing now, because, you know, in the first one, he was a young boy that was left at the Grand Canyon by his parents, and, you know, pretty much had to, you know, grow up raising himself. And now it's years later. He's gotten married to his love of his life. He has a couple of kids now, but yet now there's a big tornado coming through his town and sweeps him up and throws him, you know, into the past again, back into like the 60s or whatever, or 50s or 60s. But yet he's still himself now, and he gets to see like his wife and his different people in his life, you know, when, you know, before he was even born and things like that, and just kind of, you know, coming to terms with what happened in his life. It was just okay, you know what I mean? Like, the jokes were really, you know, far and in between, like, ones that I thought were funny. They were just kind of, you know what I mean? It was just kind of like a stupid comedy I don't think everyone's gonna like. You know what I mean? Like, there's some moments in here that I thought were really funny, but others were just kind of like, oh, you guys are trying too hard here, to be honest. But like, a friend of mine is in here, Charlie Talbert, who you guys all know from Angus, the guy that played Angus in the film Angus back in the day, has a quick little cameo in here, and it was kind of cool to see him pop up on here, man. You know, Charlie Talbot represent, man. But on this Blu-ray here, there's really no special features whatsoever. Just you get the extended cut of the film on here. It looks nice on Blu-ray, but just really wasn't that funny, to be honest. And next up over here from Sony also was the new Mark Ruffalo, Zoe Saldana film, and it's called Infinitely Polar Bear here on Blu-ray. And this is quite possibly the most compelling movie, or the most watchable movie in my opinion, that I really just fell in love with. I knew nothing about it before I got this movie, and I popped it in, and I just fell in love with the characters and the whole family of this movie. It's pretty much about this one family, Zoe Saldana, Mark Ruffalo are mother and father. They have these two, you know, beautiful daughters and things, but yet, you know, Mark Ruffalo suffers from manic depression. You know what I mean? He's kind of, you know, bipolar. He's just kind of crazy. You know what I mean? And, you know, then at the beginning of this film, his wife is leaving him, taking the girls away. He gets thrown into a nut house and things. But yet, a couple years later, his wife, you know, is trying to get a better job, trying to go to college and try to better herself so she can better her family. But yet, you know, the last couple of years, her husband's been in this nut house, and he's just being let out now. And she's kind of sort of giving the kids to him and leaving the kids with, you know, the manic depressive husband as she goes off to college to try to figure out her life. And it's pretty much what Mark Ruffalo does, you know, with his kids, and just kind of sort of trying to be a normal father, but he's really not. You know what I mean? I don't know, just the whole story was really kind of compelling to me, because my father kind of had, you know, manic depression and things, and just some of the mannerisms that Mark Ruffalo, you know, had in this film kind of really reminded me of my dad. A couple of scenes in here really reminded me of him, to be honest. It's like a real life story kind of movie for me. You know what I mean? Like, it really hit home when I was watching it. Great performances, beautifully shot film. If you guys like real life kind of movies, you guys will really like this Infinitely Polar Bear. Alright guys, and next up over here is The Perfect Guy here on Blu-ray, starring Morris Chestnut, Michael Early here on Blu. This is a real generic kind of, psychological thriller film about this young lady who's in a relationship with with her boyfriend that she's been with for many, many years. Her boyfriend, played by Morris Chestnut, wants to take their relationship to the next level and get married to her. But yet she's not really in the, in the marrying game. She doesn't really know if she wants to take their relationship to that level. So she ends up saying, hey, let's just break apart for a while and see how things go. A couple weeks later, she meets this new guy. Could be like the most perfect guy in the world, good looking, says nothing wrong, like everything he says is gold, but yet she doesn't know he's a complete and utter psychopath and something bad is gonna be coming her way. At the same time, it's just really kind of generic and forgettable, in my opinion. It just felt like one of those movies they just sort of like cranked out and just, thrown out there to the audience out there. It's just, it's just one of those ones that you've seen millions of times before. And next up over here is a film from Paramount, and it's called Sleeping with Other People, and this one stars it's called Jason Sudeikis, Adam Scott, and Amanda Peet here on DVD. It's pretty much about these two people who meet each other in college and things. They lose their virginity to one another back in the day, but now it's years later. They both have this weird sex addiction. We're just sleeping with people all over the place, and they meet each other again after all these years in a sex addiction meeting with everyone else that's just kind of crazy about sex. And this them striking up a relationship with one another and just trying to learn from one another how not to be as crazy about sex as they are, but yet at the same time trying not to sleep with one another yet again after all this time. I thought this movie had some really funny, quick banter, quick raunchy dialogue that I kind of really enjoyed. But like midway through this film, I was just kind of over it. You know what I mean? Like, I was just kind of done. You know what I mean? It's just like the tone of the movie and just the whole feel of it. I'm just like, it started off nice, but then to me, I'm just like, I'm kind of over it already, to be honest. The acting in here is fine. I've always liked Amanda Peet. I think she's just a real beautiful person. I've always liked her since like Coyote Ugly and in this film too. But next up over here from Paramount also is one of my shows that I just absolutely love. It's kind of like watching Workaholics, but with with women. You know what I mean? In there. And this is the complete second season of Broad City here on DVD. On the set here you get 2 discs featuring all 10 episodes of season 2 here. It's just pretty much about these 2 girls that live in New York that are kind of lazy, kind of, just doing their own thing, living life. You know what I mean? And it's just them getting into little hijinks and being, just being them crazy selves. Like I said, it's kind of like the Workaholics thing, just like that kind of raunchy humor with, just balls to the wall, just like we're gonna do and say what we feel like, kind of show. And that's what I love. That's what I love about this thing. And on this DVD, like I said, you get 2 discs, you get outtakes, deleted scenes. Really, really funny show. Really recommend it. It's one of those ones I love watching and just like marathoning the hell out of it on like a rainy day like today. You know what I mean? I just absolutely love this show. It's one of those ones, I don't know how you cannot like it. You know what I mean? Like if you guys are into raunchy comedies and things, you guys would absolutely love this show. Really, really a fun watch. Okay guys, and next up over here from Arrow Video US here is the new release of Blood Rage here on Blu-ray. This is a great 80s slasher flick that was made in 1983, but wasn't released, what's it say back here? Wasn't released until 1987. It was like sitting around for all these years. It's pretty much about these twin brothers back in the day when they were children at this drive-in movie theater with their mom and their mom's boyfriend, and they're making out one day in the front seat of the car at this drive-in movie theater, and the sons are like, "Mom, what are you doing? Ew," kind of thing. So they leave the car, walk around the drive-in movie theater until one of the twins goes crazy and kills one of the patrons at the movie theater with an axe, bludgeons someone to death, and then gets sent off to a crazy house as the other twin and the mother live their normal lives, in seclusion. And years and years later, in this film, like 20 years later, the crazy twin is being let out of the nut house, after all this time, and now all these crazy killings are starting to happen again. But they don't know, what twin really, committed these murders. Could it be the one that has been living in the normal life, after all these years, or is it the supposed crazy crazy twin that's being let out of the nut house now, committing all these crimes that are happening ever since he's got let out of there. And it's pretty much, you know, it's people trying to figure out who's doing it. You know what I mean? This movie really had some great, gore effects in here, great kills. If you guys love, 80s slashers, you guys will definitely get a kick out of this film. It's a beautiful transfer of this movie. I have never seen this movie before until I got this Blu-ray, but if you guys love 80s slashers, man, like real cheesy ones, definitely check this one out, man. You get a slew of special features on the back of this bad boy, so you won't be disappointed if you guys are into special features and things. But that's Blood Rage here on Blu-ray. Looks fantastic, love it. And next up over here from HBO is Amy Schumer live at the Apollo here on DVD. This is her new stand-up special, 6 hour-long stand-up special with her, just talking about her life in Hollywood and how her career is going, and how people in Hollywood kind of look at her different than other people of her stature because of her kind of weight and the way she looks. And to me she's not really fat and ugly or anything, but like, you know what I mean, like, people in Hollywood look at her weird, and she tells different stories about how she got a movie role, in a movie that she wrote. But yet the people are like, hey, we want you to star in this movie, but can you maybe kind of, lose like 15-20 pounds, before we do it. It's just her telling jokes about it, and jokes, just different jokes and stories about her life and things growing up. It's actually a really fun stand-up special. You guys all know me, I love, my stand-up comedy specials. I have a whole closet full of DVDs, just filled with like Richard Pryor, DVDs, and Sam Kinison, like a whole bunch of, great comedians. And I think she's really not better than Richard Pryor, but like I really do dig her humor, to be honest. Her and the show that she has, Inside Amy Schumer, I can see why she's really popular at the moment. You know what I mean? Like she's just really funny, and really hits the mark for me. You know what I mean? But that's Amy Schumer live at the Apollo here on DVD. Alright guys, and the next 3 up here from the Warner Archive collection, and the first one up here is the complete 6th and final season of the George Lopez Show here on DVD. You get the complete series here on all 18 episodes on 2 DVDs right here. And if you guys don't know the George Lopez Show, man, it's just a really fun show featuring the comedian all-star George Lopez himself. And of course, season 6 picks up right where season 5 left off. And in this one, season 5 left off where George Lopez's job may be moving to Mexico so the people at his company can, outsource it and make their jobs even, work even cheaper. And in this one also, his wife at the end of season 5 just took a pregnancy test, and she may be pregnant again with another child. And in this one, his older daughter is being, is going off to college now, and it's him coming to terms with that. And also his crazy mother. At the beginning of season 6, his crazy mother is being put into jail for something she'd done years and years ago, and it's pretty much him trying to figure out what is he going to do? Because his mom drives him nuts and out of his mind. Is he going to try to help her stay out of jail, or help her, or not help her and keep her in jail? Your kind of thing. I've always really loved this sitcom. It's just one of those ones. It's a real easy watch. You really get involved with the characters and really like them. And in season 6 here, you get a lot of different guest stars in here, like Oscar De La Hoya, and what was his name again? Adam West, the original Batman, in here. And also Judge Marilyn Milian, who you guys all know from the People's Court, the television show that's on right now about people going to court, in here for 1 or 2 of the episodes while George Lopez's mother's going to court. It's just a really fun, really watchable show, and I'm happy that the Warner Archive collection has finally released all the seasons now on DVD, so I can, complete my collection, even though I think I still need season 3. I have all of them except for season 3 for some reason. But it's just a really funny sitcom. If you guys have never got a chance to check it out, definitely get all the DVDs now online. And these next up over here from Warner Archive, also very excited that they released these here on DVD, because I know I'm away from the camera now, but I've owned these movies before on DVD. These are like some really weird editions, of them that came out back in the day that I got for like real cheap. But now the Warner Archive has put them out. They were made by the Golden Harvest Company back in the day, but now they're officially released here on DVD. The Blade of Fury here, which features the feature film in its original Chinese language with the English subtitles on here. It's just a really beautiful transfer, you know, of a film. It's pretty much about this this one warrior guy. I'm just gonna give you like a streamlined thing because there's a couple other things going on in this movie about this one warrior guy. His whole crew, you know, back in the day gets massacred in this big battle that they're having, you know, to take down, like, you know, the bad, you know, like the evil emperor or whatever, and they all get taken out except for him. And right before he dies, one of the warriors says, "Hey, help our legacy live on." You know what I mean? You gotta, you know, still fight the good fight, kind of thing. And then, you know, years later, he's just kind of like a, you know, like a swordsmith, like a guy that's just like you know, just working a day-to-day life. It's kind of like staying under the radar until one day he starts this new martial arts school to try to, you know, bring his, you know, his troop back together again by, like, you know, revitalizing it by, you know, training young people in the art of what he was grown up to know, you know, kind of thing, and then go against the bad people again. It's just a really, you know, fun swordplay martial art movie that I always really liked. And I have had this DVD for years. And the cool thing is about both these films is that they both star Sammo Hung, one of my all-time favorite martial art actors of all time, next to like Jackie Chan and Jet Li and things. But in both these films, he stars in this one and has a guest appearance in Blade of Fury here. But the thing is, he directs both of them. And Petty Cab Driver, he has a starring role in here. He's like the petty. You know, if you guys don't know what a petty cab driver is, it's like a guy riding a bike while you sit in the back, and, you know, he takes you to where you want to go back in the day. And in this film, it's him working at this you know, cab company kind of place, and something happens to a couple of people in his group of friends that get kind of killed. And it's him, you know, going after the bad guys to take them out for what they did to his friends and things. It's just a really fun, you know, action movie that has a lot of good drama in here also, because one of his friends gets involved with a prostitute and really falls in love with her, but he doesn't know she's a prostitute until like later on in the film. It's a really heartfelt kind of movie at moments, and I always really liked it. And I gotta say, man, upgrading these on DVD from these, you know, crappy DVD versions, I can just take these two versions and throw them away, because those ones are just booty, son. These two are just absolutely beautiful picture, man. Definitely upgrade to these ones if you guys haven't already. Okay, guys, and the next two up here are from Olive Films. Very excited to get these in to talk to you guys about today, because I've always loved these films ever since I was a kid, and I saw them back on the video store shelves back in the day. And that is Mannequin here on Blu-ray. This one stars Kim Cattrall from Sex and the City, and of course Andrew McCarthy here. It's pretty much about Andrew McCarthy's character, a guy that can't really hold down a job, can't, you know, just figure out what he's gonna do with himself. And so one day he gets this job at this department store, you know, working in the the display windows with these mannequins and things, until one night one of the mannequins comes to life, but yet no one else can see this mannequin being alive except for him. And it's him thinking he might be completely out of his mind. People are looking at him that he's kind of weird, and he's just trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and the hilarity ensues from there. I always remembered, you know, really watching this one back in the day, always really liking it, and was really excited that they put it out in 1080p here on Blu-ray. The sad thing is, all you get is a theatrical trailer of the movie up on here, from what I remember. There's no like new interviews on here or anything like that, but I've always really liked this movie. Very, very happy about it being on Blu-ray. But the cool thing is about all the films, they just didn't put out the first one. They put out Mannequin 2 here on the Move on Blu-ray also, the sequel, of course. But this one's kind of sort of like the same rehash of the story of Mannequin. But this one right here stars William Ragsdale and Christy Swanson here as the mannequin. And in this one, it's like there's like a, you know, like a legend, you know, of this, you know, peasant girl, because back in the day, this princess, you know, gets turned into this mannequin, you know, all hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and now her mannequin body has been in like this, you know, museum for all these years and being looked at after all this time as the peasant, you know, as this, you know, mystical being. And now for some reason this mannequin is being transported to this department store to put it in the department store window, and it comes to life, and this, of course, course, William Ragsdale's character sees it, but you know, and it's just the same thing goes on, just like in the first one. But like, I think this one had a little bit more comedy element to it that I liked a little bit more than the original. Like, I still love both these films, and I'm just very excited that all the films put them both out on Blu-ray, man. Just very, very thankful for them to be putting these ones out, and I've just been a big fan of these, and I just want to let you guys all know that these are, you know, both out now on the Blue Rizzle. And next up over here from Image Entertainment, RLJ, is a film starring with Wallace Shawn, and that is called Robo-Dog here on Blu-ray. It's pretty much about this family. At the beginning of this movie, this young boy, this family loses his dog that he's loved for all these years. The dog passes away, but yet the father of the family is a scientist that goes into work, you know, working on different science projects and different things for this company. And at the beginning of this film also, his father loses his job. He's kind of down on his luck and depressed about it because this battery, this self-charging battery that he created, you know, made him lose his job because it didn't, you know, function correctly, you know, during the testing process. And now he's lost his job. Wallace Shawn, his boss, has fired him, and now he's sad about his son losing his dog. He's mad about losing his job, so he locks himself up. The dad locks himself up in his garage or science lab and creates Robo-Dog. You know what I mean? A dog that looks just like the dog his son lost, but they're using the same battery that he had, you know, in his office, and creating this cool Robo-Dog for his son. But then his old boss finds out about this battery is actually working and tries to get it back, and it's just a back and forth, you know, between the son loving his new dog, and the bad guy Wallace Shawn trying to, you know, get that battery out of the dog so he can make the money that he needs to make. And that's Robo-Dog for you. It was okay, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of had a couple of, you know, nice family moments in there, but it was just really kind of forgettable. And next up over here from Alchemy and that is called Stock Option here on DVD. It's pretty much about this one homeless guy who's always begging for money outside of this one building all the time, and he sees this one woman coming out all the time that he's always very nice and giving him money for food and different things, until one day he sees this woman out on the street being harassed and, like, you know, like shaken down in the middle of this alley, and, you know, being robbed and things. So he goes up there, you know, knocks out the bad guy that's trying to rob her and saves her life, essentially. And it's them striking up a relationship with one another, and how them knowing each other is going to better one another, you know, kind of movie. It was just one of those ones you watch, and then after that, you forget. You know what I mean? It's just nothing super special. But, like, this movie is just really kind of But that's all I have to talk to you guys about today for my Blu-ray DVD update video. Please give it a thumbs up or share it around on Facebook and Twitter if you guys like my videos. Also, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys have been watching recently. And I'll see you guys all next time. Hoarders, unite!